Hey, we're back. The crew are
Hello.
back. It's been a while, right? It's been a minute, but we're here. How we all doing?
Good. It
Yeah,
wouldn't have
we've
been the
got
same without Keith, so we
no,
needed to.
no.
I think we
Exactly.
needed to
No.
wait.
We want to wait.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Doesn't.
appreciate that.
Oh,
As
stripping
you
off
can,
already. Oh,
as you
dude.
can see, there's, and that's just the one in the front. There's an even bigger one in the back as well.
I was about to say I can imagine that's the smaller of the two, but
Yeah,
yeah, here we are.
back. I
We're
made it.
back. Good
I'm
evening, good
alive.
morning, good afternoon, and Keith is storming back to full recovery. I think it's safe to say. Mel's rocking the summer pink hair, and I've just got a giant beard and a big head, so it's all good.
We're
Yeah, we're
almost
here.
home.
We're back. No
I'm
problem.
keeping myself
We
muted because of the road noises.
Oh, it's okay. We've got a bit. It's a bit of an impromptu show. We haven't really advertised it. We haven't really done a lot of work to promote it. So if you're out there, cool. If you're not, catch it up on repeat. We'll be spreading the word, but it's going to be as fun as usual. We've got a few movies to discuss. One of which seems a bit silly now because it was picked for April and we're in May. But that's how it works. So, but yeah, all good, all good. So we are we took four movies this month, which seems to be the trend now, doesn't it? Three sort of older ones and then a more recent one. And we go from there. So, first up, we have 1986's April Fool's Day. What did you think, guys?
Well,
You guys are making me watch some stupid ass movie. That's all I'm gonna fucking say. That one. Muffy.
Muffy and Muffy.
Buffy and
Hilarious.
Muffy.
Hey,
No,
all,
The
all I'm,
tears, so that's the laugh you guys hear in the back.
all I'm going to say
the
is
premise.
you could have watched the 2007 remake and it would have been so much worse.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can
the
imagine.
remake's
The
awful.
the premise to me was interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got bored watching it, but I saw it through to the end.
Yeah.
The death scenes were way too obvious, and the only thing
Did you know about the end? Spoilers, obviously, going forward from here. We're going to spoil these movies up the wazoo. So if you've not seen them, go watch them and come back by all means. But come back.
I mean,
so
it was April Fool's Day, so I figured there was something, but I didn't realize that the whole thing was going to be like this big charade, right? I didn't realize it was kind of like a murder mystery dinner type of thing going on. That kind of ruined it for me, actually. But no, I thought it was clever. I just think that it could have been done in a much different way that would have been a better horror film. A lot of the scenes were just tough to watch.
I think the thing is, with it, obviously, it was 1986, so it was a while ago. The slasher craze was in full swing, and somebody obviously thought to themselves, we need to do something to be different, something to stand out, and this is what they did. You can split the audience straight down the middle. People love it or hate it, and loved it or hated it at the time. People thought it was genius. Other people felt they were being robbed. It kind of reminds me in a way. No, there's no death. No,
there was absolutely no death.
No,
the one thing that could have redeemed it is if at the very end that was her actually getting killed and not another April Fool's prank. Like I would have been like, there we go. Okay, cool. Now it all's come together. But
it's a horror movie, but nobody dies. So I feel like I'm in like an 80s cartoon, where they'd always get like punched and shit, and they always get beat up. They never die though.
It kind of reminds me in a way a little bit. I don't know if you guys have heard of a movie called House of the Long Shadow.
No.
Which is 82, I think, and it's Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, and it's a similar scenario, but it's done so much better. Done so much better. But it caused a fair bit of not controversy upon release, but people either loved it or hated it. Spawned a sequel and a remake. I wouldn't advise either, to be honest. But there's some heavy hitters involved. Yeah, there's some heavy hitters involved. Written by a guy called Danilo Brat, who was responsible for a certain Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. Directed by Fred Walton, I do apologize, Fred Walton, who directed When a Stranger Calls, both versions, and a sequel.
I was gonna say it felt like that. It felt like that type of movie, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
It's very similar in terms of the shooting style. I think the cinematography style is similar.
When a Stranger Calls is way better than this one.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, blimey. Yeah. You know, it doesn't even. It's not even close. It's not even in comparison. Even the casting. When you look at the cast, and obviously you've got Biff from Back to the Future, which is hilarious, and a load of other people I'd never heard of, with the exception of Amy Steele, who was in Friday the 13th Part 2. She was the final girl in Part 2. So at the time, which again, 86.
That's where she's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, 86. The writer and the director and Amy Steele especially, they were names. You know, they were names. They were maybe not megastars, but I mean, Beverly Hills Cop was huge, wasn't it? Let's be honest. All 1 and 2s for sure. And as you say, When a Stranger Calls is an iconic classic. So there was belief in it, and this is going to shock you now. How much do you reckon this film was cost to make? Bear in mind that you've just said what you said. What do you think the budget was for this?
It's probably something stupid.
5 million.
Oh my god.
5 million in 1986. Normally we go 100, a couple of 100,000 or 1 million or 1.2. Or normally these movies cost very little.
Movie 5 million.
5 million they put into this, and it brought back 13. So it did okay. You know, it did. It did okay, but still, yeah. I don't know where that 5 million went because it didn't go on the screen.
Everybody got paid. That's about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It definitely didn't go on the screen when you think of some of the movies that we've talked about in the last few months that have cost, nowhere near that sort of money. So it obviously had backing. I mean, 13 million it's not chump change. It did okay. In terms of the movie itself, guys, it's your sort of run of the mill teens heading into April Fool's break, believe it or not. And they get hunted, I guess is the best way of saying it. Or do they? There's a slasher, and there's a girl and a quote unquote insane sister that she didn't know she had, or did she? It's a very weird movie. It hasn't aged particularly well. I don't think that helps. Again, where the 5 million went, I don't know. No, unless Amy still made a fortune out of it, which if she did, fair play to her. So,
and it was hard to be like, oh, those are fake deaths. You know what I mean? Because it's 1986. It all looks fake, anyways.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So, if I'd said to you it cost $500,000 or $1 million to make, you'd probably gone, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I know 5's crazy.
I don't see it.
Yeah, no. You look at the quote unquote deaths. Deaths are the reveals of the bodies, etc., and it's not great. The only one I'd say that even remotely holds any sort of water is the decapitation, the head falling off thing, and even that's not great, but it stands, no pun intended, head and shoulders above everything else. So it's one of those, but yeah, it's an interesting movie to say the least. It's not
just the first one in the water when he's like, and the boat's coming. I was like, are you fucking stupid? Like the captain's just staring at him for like what it seems like 5 minutes. Like, oh shit, I'm going towards.
It's what I call Titanic syndrome. Oh look, there's an iceberg. Oh look, there's another. Oh shit, we hit it. But again, the whole movie was made based on stupid teens going away for a weekend or however long it was, and being hunted down by Buffy or Muffy, or I don't know. There wasn't any vampire slayer in it, that's for sure. One of the few ones I don't normally, when we do this stuff, obviously I'm being the horror aficionado, I tend to own a lot of this stuff in some format or another. I don't own this movie, I'll openly admit. and I'm in no rush to get a copy. I found a copy, no problem, and enjoyed it for what it was. But as I've said previously, here in the UK, a lot of the Blu-ray stuff is out of print. It's difficult, so I'm in no rush to part with my hard-earned for a copy of this. To be honest, I just don't think it's on the level of a lot of the movies of the time. 86 was prime, wasn't it? Let's be honest. 86 was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, for example. Dream Wars was I think Dream Wars was 86, because you think 84, 85, I think certainly 86/87. You would have had I don't know whatever else. There would have been. We were in the sort of the eye of the storm, if you like. Mid 80s going into the 90s, before obviously the bottom fell out of the genre, as it were. But yeah, it's fun enough. I wouldn't say it's a bad watch, but I think you have to have your expectations at certain levels.
Right.
In my opinion, that is obviously
for me, it's a one and done. Like you said, it didn't age well. The premise is cool if done right.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to actually, like, it needs to be an April Fool's joke, but there needs to be something that goes horrendously wrong to make it a good horror movie.
Yeah.
Maybe like the first half of the film is them playing the prank, and then
they actually start
happening for real,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, this is where the House of the Long Shadow stuff comes in, because House of the Long Shadow is very similar. It's going off on a tangent because it's a different movie altogether, but that's a movie I would fully recommend and fully put money into. As I say, I think it's 1981, maybe 1982, and it's about a family back at an old mansion with a writer and a similar. Without going into obviously spoilers or anything, because maybe we'll do that at some point in the future. It's a good movie. It's a similar thing, but then the lines blur, if you like, which is essentially what you were indicating that would probably have paid off. But it's a weird one. It's got a cult following, and so, as I say, some people are big fans, others not quite so much. I sort of sit on the fence with it. I can like it for what it is.
I enjoy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I enjoyed Silent Hill. I played the games.
You've jumped ahead to the next one.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Silent Hill.
No. Yeah, we'll wrap up April Fool's Day. I think for me, I would say my favorite scene, if favorite is a right way of putting it, or favorite, can't really say the favorite death because there isn't one, but the whole Muffy Buffy thing's hilarious. You can just sit and go, yeah, that's hilarious. It's a 3 out of 5 for me, maybe 2.5 at a push. There's a lot of these movies that are sort of required viewing.
Two. I mean, because the premise, because the idea, I think the idea behind it is cool. I'll give it a 2. If I didn't enjoy the idea, I probably would have given it a 1, honestly. Which saddens me because it's got Biff Tannen in it. You know what I mean?
It's understandable though. It's got Biff Tannen in it. This is true. It's understandable though.
Like when I saw that, I had high hopes for it at that point. I was like, it's got Biff, but he just plays this clunky. I mean, he actually plays himself kind of in this.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever seen interviews and like his stand-up comedy and stuff like that, he acts exactly like that.
Yeah, and he's no age at this point, is he either? Like he's no age in it. So okay, Miles back with us. It's. I would never say I'd all out not recommend it, but you'd have to really know what you're going in for, know what you're getting yourself into. So that was April Fool's Day, which originally was discussed and picked for the fact that we were hoping to fit a show in April, but didn't happen. These things happen. Life gets in the way. But we did the work on it. We'd watched it. Why not check it in? No.
She's trying to come back. I think you have to give her permission.
Oh, okay. Have a look. My bad. See, this is why you're in charge of this stuff.
But no, it's good for you guys to learn because
I
you
know.
know, like today,
Wait.
I was like at the restaurant going, "Come on, StreamYard," and everybody's looking at me, and I'm like,
well, we just finished talking. You timed it really well because we just put April Fool's Day to bed.
just
As I say, you know, it was supposed to be
put
last
it
month.
far,
Yeah.
far away from me.
The
2
question
out of
is,
5.
of all the movies you looked at so far, is April Fool's Day the worst one? I think
Yes.
it probably is.
One
Yeah,
of-
I think it
definitely.
probably is.
It
If I'm-
even tops that Christmas one there, that awful one with the Christmas lights that they hang the guy with.
Oh, Black
Silent-
Christmas.
Oh, Black Christmas. Oh yeah, it's not even close to Black Christmas.
That's what I'm saying. That one was cheesy. That one was, you know what I mean. This one, April Fool's Day, was just horrible.
Yeah, I think it might be the worst movie we've
The acting.
and I have to take responsibility because I was the one who pushed it. Because I'll be honest, I remember it. I just remember it more fondly than it clearly is. So
mean,
my bad.
It was
My bad.
April, so you know.
It was April, yeah.
It's okay. Hey, listen, it did exactly what the title says.
It did. This is true.
It fooled us.
Well, we've timed it really well here, Mel, because next up we have your choice for this month, this show. Certain little red-headed good guy doll, I believe,
Yes.
by the name of Chucky.
Yeah.
Child's
and
Play.
I had
Child's
my
Play.
3-year-old watching it with me.
Really? I haven't seen it in a while. I mean, up
He
until now,
loved
obviously.
it.
Yeah.
He loved it.
I love the original trilogy. I'm not so big on the Curse of and Bride of and whatever else. But
I mean,
the
I
fir-
like
the
Bride
original-
of because obviously, you know what I mean. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like the remake of Chucky.
I didn't mind the remake. The only reason I enjoyed the remake is, I enjoyed the remake mainly because Mark Hamill was in it. I knew once they said Mark Hamill, I was like, I'm in. You know, that was enough for me to get something from it. But I know what you're saying. So this came out 2 years after April Fool's Day. So this came out in '88, and written by Don Mancini, who, as we know, is responsible for the entire franchise. Had very little to do with the reboot, which the reboot's weird because although I get it and I kind of enjoy it, normally reboots are made for things that have gone, like things that have been done, they're finished. But we were still getting Child's Play movies. The TV show was just picking up, which is fantastic, by the way. So it was a bit of a weird one that they decided to reboot, reimagine, whatever you want to call it these days. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So written by Don Mancini, as who I was saying, is responsible for the entire series, which is phenomenal. Directed by Tom Holland, not Spider-Man.
That's what I was saying.
Who was
She
responsible
questioned that. She questioned that earlier.
Did you
when
really?
I pulled it up on the screen.
Such
She's
an
like,
obvious one, isn't
Holland?
He looks great for his age.
I was
Right.
like, he wasn't even born yet.
Tom Holland, who was responsible for Fright Night, which is great, and the criminally underrated Psycho 2. Psycho 2 is brilliant in very different ways to the original. Maybe we'll talk about it one day. Starring Catherine Hicks, who I didn't really know from anything else, I'll be honest.
Seventh Heaven.
Chris-
She was the mom. She was the mom from Seventh
know.
Heaven.
Is that
Yes.
is that big? Right? Oh, okay. You guys.
Yeah, that was a big soap opera show with
Yes.
Dawson's Creek and ran
Oh,
around
okay.
the same time. Ran around the same time as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, no, we didn't get that here. I don't think that I'm aware of.
More of a family, like you know, very.
It was where
family
Jessica
that-
Biel got her start.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
okay.
True. That's true.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. Chris Sarandon, who was also a name at the time.
Yeah.
Dog Day Afternoon, the aforementioned Fright Night.
Yep, he was in Fright Night.
And more importantly, The Princess Bride.
You got it right there. That's my favorite film.
When he was sick, also. He used to love it when he was sick. When he lays in bed when he was a kid.
What did I do right before my surgery?
Did you watch Princess Bride?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Princess Bride.
Mine's
right
always
before
Star
my
Wars.
surgery.
Whenever I'm unwell, I always watch Star Wars. Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to probably make an exception one show and just talk about, like, you know,
Talk about our
movies of our
favorites.
childhoods.
Oh.
Like,
A
maybe
lot of
that
these
could
are
be
though
for next
for me.
month.
yeah. Why not? Who else did we have? Alex Vincent, obviously playing young Andy. terrible actor at that age, bless him. And the legend,
I
Go
rewatched
on.
it, and honestly, the scene where he breaks down crying, I thought for his age was actually really, really good, because there were real tears going on there, and it was like I looked for that. I looked to see what I could critique when I watched it just about a couple of hours ago, and I saw that scene where he breaks down and cries, and I actually thought that was a bit of good acting.
It's probably his best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Some of it comes down to the scripts and stuff. You know, this is
True.
the end, friend. I mean, what are you gonna do with that, really?
See, but Scarlett, go ahead and tell him what you told me.
Oh, one of my favorite scenes was when Andy light the match, and when Chucky said something, he said, "I'm Chucky," reference to the end. He said, "This is the end."
Yeah.
Bye, my friend.
See, that was one of her favorite parts. That's why
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah.
From the child's mind, that's actually her favorite scene.
Makes sense. I think my favorite Andy scene is when he makes his mum breakfast. This is absolute car crash.
Yeah, see that made me cringe, because I'm like, oh my god, look how much cleaning I would have to do as a parent.
Yeah, don't even. OCD would kick in massively.
At first I went, oh, God, man, she's gonna get up and be like, oh.
You know the worst part? One of the most terrifying parts in the whole movie is when the orange juice mixes with toast. I was like, no, I can't deal with this.
With that much butter, I was like, when she picked it up and it fell off, I was just like, She was so nice about it, though. She's like, I'm going to eat this a little late.
Yeah, I know, right? And obviously Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif is horror royalty, not just for Child's Play, Exorcist 3, and a lot of other things as well. So, interestingly, he's now retired from acting, with the exception of anything Child's Play related. That's all he does now, which is just goes to show the manner of the impact it's had on him. His daughter's in the TV series as well. I think she was in one of the movies as well.
You can't have Chucky's voice is iconic. Are you kidding?
It's Robert Englund, isn't it? There's certain people.
Chucky. It's the same thing with Robert Englund.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You can't once Robert's gone. No matter how many times you try to remake that, you're never gonna get another Robert Englund.
No.
Brad
no, I agree.
Same way with Chucky. I will not watch.
And I think
I still have not seen the remake, and I refuse to.
I don't understand why they didn't give, unless he turned it down, which I didn't look into, I'll be honest. But unless he turned it down, I don't know why you wouldn't go cap in hand to Dourif and go, "Hey, easy money," because it did okay. I don't mind it. It is what it is. I think the Mark Hamill thing is, tends to soften the blow for me a little bit, but.
This was made for because they always bring it back to now, right? With this technology.
Yeah.
Make it modern, No,
the weirdest thing in it as well is the weirdest thing I found, and I don't know if it's just how my head works or what, but so you had the mum, whose name escapes me, from Parks and Rec, and she's not that old, and then she's got a teenage son herself. And I was like, this doesn't quite marry up. It doesn't quite fit. And then, like you say, they've got a good guy doll that can control every electrical appliance in the house. Bit weird. But again, like I say, the Mark Hamill side of it kind of softened it. I know.
Have to watch it. You don't...
Yeah, no. It's one of those.
Right, you've already explained enough that still makes me never want to see that.
We didn't even get it over here. It didn't even get a theatrical release in England.
I
had to wait and get it on Blu-ray when it, just out of curiosity, when I got it cheap for £5.
I wonder, I'm not hosting right now, but I wonder if I could still do this. Nah. I think you'll have to accept it down there. You should see another screen. Okay. We're testing out some stuff, guys, at the same time.
Yeah, this is...
Yay!
Okay.
Because I'm usually... There we go. See, I'm usually the one that runs all of this. So
I'm
this
learning.
Is what we're talking about, guys.
Is this the remake or the original?
No. This is the classic one.
Everyone has a birthday they'll always remember.
Can we open my presents now, Mommy? A good guy! I knew it! I'm Chucky.
He's something, isn't he?
This is Andy's.
Time for bed, Andy. Good night, baby.
Good night, Aunt Maggie.
Nope.
Chucky.
Everyone knows most accidents happen at home.
How did that happen?
This is no accident.
Andy! I'm Detective Mike Norris, homicide.
Andy!
Miss Peterson's dead, Miss Barkley. She fell from the kitchen window.
Someone's moved in with the Barkley family. And so has terror.
Mommy, I know who was on the counter. Andy!
Who, Andy?
Chucky.
Nobody believes you about Chucky. He came alive in my hand.
Oh, for God's sake.
Why won't you believe me?
Because I'm sane, Mrs. Barkley. Sane and rational.
No one believes the truth. Or lives to tell it. There's nothing nice about murder. And there's nothing innocent about child's play.
I'm not gonna
No,
lie, it
that's-
still creeps me out today. It's still
That's a
creeps me
trailer.
out today.
The 80s, they knew how to do trailers. That tells you very little about the movie, but you're like, I need to see that.
Well, did you
Yeah.
also notice that they didn't show that they showed what the
He's-
doll looks like, but they don't show what happens when he turns to Chucky?
When he's animated, yeah.
You don't see a huge amount until the sequel, do you? You know, they keep it kind of low key. You know, the sequels when they go, oh, hang on a minute, he's the star here. That we've got something, and technology moves on a little bit more, and because they use a mixture, didn't they, of puppets and extras, I believe.
Even
Obviously,
the
wasn't
first
the-
one, you could tell when it's the puppet and when somebody's walking. The
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
is
yeah.
very, you know.
Yeah.
is- even the stabs,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
little
Well,
jerky movements there. That,
yeah.
It's fucking lovely.
Unlike the previous movie, it was made for $5 million, and we had no idea how. This was made for $9 million, and every cent's on the screen. You can see it. It's there. It's all there.
How did you
in-
like Chucky's expressions?
It's brilliant, isn't it? You can't. I mean, not for yourself, Scarlett.
I don't like the expressions.
Didn't like it. No.
Like when they show his teeth, like I was like literally, oh my god, no.
Well, you gotta
Like,
understand
when
that
he-
it's
when
a
he's burned.
doll.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
scary. I don't like the
Mhm.
teeth.
It's
It's a-
scary.
no, yeah,
That's
it is
kind of
scary.
the whole point, though.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
And,
And-
those dolls were actually sold back then.
It's
And
based on a
later
real
on.
thing, right?
Yes.
Good guy dolls were a real. Again, we didn't have
Yes.
these. We didn't get these here.
Oh,
But I know good
my
guy
friend
dolls were a
had
real
those,
thing,
and I was
right?
like, you kill it. You better burn that shit right now. I'm not even testing it. I'm
Release
not
the
playing
demon.
with Chucky.
Yeah.
playing with
It
Chucky.
to say it made a fortune and went on to create an empire would be an understatement. It made $44 million globally,
Ridiculous.
and that's 1980. That's 1988, and that's not thinking in terms of merch, home video. You know, because everyone and their dog had a Chucky doll of some description at some point. If you were a horror guy, you know, I
and
was
then they
12.
revitalized it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is
each time it changed forms. Like when it DVD, Blu-ray, that it kept
yeah,
getting
no,
revitalized.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I
that's
guarantee you
just-
they made it fun.
Yeah, easily, and then some. I mean, as I say, whenever I look at the figures, I just tend to look on the initial theatrical run to see, because that gives you an idea of how big it was going there. Plus, trying to get an idea of how much things make on home entertainment is just, you know, just plucking numbers out of the air. So, yeah, 44 million in 1988 is humongous money. Huge money.
Especially
You know,
for-
huge. Yeah, huge money. I mean, 40 million 10 years ago was huge money for a horror movie. Even to a degree is today still. So 1988, crazy. Absolutely crazy. I can't imagine anyone needs to know the synopsis, but we'll run through it. You've got a serial killer who is on the verge of being caught, Charles E. Ray, the one, the only Brad the Roof. In his act of desperation to stop being, he's been shot already, and to avoid being captured, he transfers his soul into a Chucky doll using voodoo. It's nowhere near as cheesy or silly as it sounds. Not even close. It's so well done. It's so well done. As he then finds out that, to his detriment, the longer he stays in the doll's body, the more he's going to become human, and he needs to transfer back out. And the person he needs to transfer out is the first person he told about his little secret. Step forward, little Andy, Alex Vincent, and essentially from there, it's cat and mouse with a few other members of the cast. Chris Sarandon's great; he was always great anyway. Catherine Hicks is very good. All playing their part, but the long and short of it is, Dorothy is the star of this movie. There is, you can't. There's no denying it, and it does become cat and mouse between the two of them. But yeah, you read the synopsis, you can listen to me in my dodgy English twang tell you it, or if you read it, it sounds terrible. It sounds really cheesy, really silly, and it's anything but.
Where do I know the Aunt Maggie from? I mean, she was only in there in the beginning, but she's so familiar. I feel like she was in a big movie.
Really? Okay. I don't.
When she was
younger.
And I
Let me look it up real quick.
I don't have anything to do it myself. If y'all could look it up. If I'm not mistaken, she was one of the pink ladies in Greece.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't.
She looks. I could be completely wrong, but she looks very similar to one of the girls from the movie Grease with Olivia and John Travolta. I could be wrong.
She may well have. I know. Just while Miles looking that up, I know Catherine Hicks married Kevin Yeager off the back of this movie. He did the effects. He did the Chucky effects, and they were married, and they're still married to this day. Kevin Yeager obviously did Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and before it got Alan Smithied, if you don't know what that means, look it up. It's mind blowing. There was directed Hellraiser Bloodline, but then decided he didn't want anything to do with it, and it got directing credit went to Alan Smithy, as it does in those situations. Alan Smithy is. I'll cover it. Alan Smithy, essentially, if a movie comes out and it's not been the greatest of productions or the easiest, or has been the differences between director and producer, etc., or they just want nothing to do with it, you can't just release a film with no name attached to it. So Alan Smithy is then used as the pseudonym for the director of the movie. So over the years, you may have seen how many movies and gone, oh, right, that Alan Smithy guy made this. It's not a real person, doesn't exist. But that's the pseudonym that all of Hollywood uses when the actual director doesn't want their name assigned to it. That blew my mind when I first found that out.
Was I right?
She's in Greece. She plays
there you go.
Marty?
Yep.
One of the pink ladies.
I knew it.
Like one of the most quiet pink ladies, I guess. Like one of that doesn't have it's not Rizzo. She's not like really loud and.
Very, very unpopular opinion. Grease 2 is better than Grease 1.
With Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm not a fan of either, to be honest, but still.
With that stupid Cool Rider song.
Yeah.
It's
no, the bowling alley. The bowling alley is the best. The bowling alley is amazing. Anyway, that's truly horrific. To say Child's Play is firmly ingrained in the pantheon of horror would be an understatement. 6 sequels, a reboot, and 3 seasons of television with no sign of it stopping. As I said earlier, Brad Dourif now will only work on Chucky-related projects. He's retired from anything else.
What was your Charlotte?
I was just wondering, why did he want to get in the good guy's body?
He had no choice. Basically, he'd been shot at the beginning of the movie. He's in a chase with the cop. He'd already been shot. He's dying, and he was gonna die or get caught.
Voodoo. He does a voodoo spell.
So he does voodoo magic, which transfers his soul. His body died, right? But he transferred his soul into the Chucky doll, and then what he was going to try to do is transfer it into Andy, so that he could live again as a human.
Yeah. So he goes and there's a scene where he goes and sees John, isn't it? Dr. Death, who's the voodoo priest who taught him everything, and he tells him, "Look, you're becoming human. The longer you stay in that body's going to become human."
Because he's
which
bleeding.
Is why. Exactly. Spoilers once again. At the end, when he gets shot, he bleeds. Because he's becoming human.
Right.
The kicker is the really clever thing they do is that in every movie, he's a new doll. So the counter starts again every time, which is really clever. Because in part 3, it's not Alex, it's not Andy, is it? It's the little kid from the military academy who he posts himself to.
I
Justin,
haven't seen those ones in so long. And I'm like,
so number 3 is the military school one, and Justin Whalen plays a grown-up Andy.
Yes,
but then,
he does.
But then there's the young boy who finds him.
Tyler, I believe it's Tyler, isn't it? Yeah, he's in the young. Yeah. The thing is with that one, I really enjoyed the original trilogy, all 3 of them. I think I think 2 is probably the best because it's where they found their groove in terms of what, 1's fantastic. 2, I think is maybe slightly better, but that's purely because of Dorothy's performance and the fact that you get more Chucky. Simple as that. The third one is an inferior movie, with the exception of the scene where he changes out the dummy bullets for the live ammo. That is some dark, twisted stuff for the time. He changes out the ammo. It's crazy. I never really bought into the, as I say, Seed or Curse or the other ones, if I'm honest. I've seen them.
I enjoyed the introduction of Tiffany.
Yeah.
She's Meg Tilly. Meg Tilly in that character has become very much a staple in the Chucky universe. Without that, like, her character is central to the new TV show and bringing back everybody the way that they have. Because the older Alex, comes, or Andy.
Christina Leese comes back, doesn't she? Christina Leese is in it. Yeah.
They got some of the main players to come back and do some stuff, which made me really good. Happy. And the newer actors and actresses that are taking part in it have done a really well job of integrating into the universe. So you kind of have to have all of the Chucky movies as a kind of a cohesive unit to make the TV show the success that it is, to have all that stuff going on. They get a lot more dark and a lot more adult when you add Tiffany into the mix. So it's no longer films that you can sit and watch with your children, because it gets way different. With those much more adults, and that's what those movies. That's what I didn't like about them, is they made it too adult. They could have kept it, I won't say family friendly, but at least to a point where it's not really grown up stuff that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Also, it was very meta. A lot of things became quite meta during that 90s period, thanks to Scream and so on and New Nightmare. But there's things like, well, you shouldn't talk about Chucky that way, and Chucky's not and they're talking about him in the third person like he's a notorious villain within the movie. So it's very cleverly done.
Have you guys both seen the TV show?
Yeah. Have you not? I haven't seen season 3, so I haven't got it here yet. But season 1 and 2 were really good.
I've seen season 1. I haven't gotten to season 2. I'm so far behind on it because
season 1 is better than season 2. I still enjoyed season 2. Don't get me wrong, but season 1 was really good.
Especially the way they ended it. That cliffhanger. So you see, now I'm not going to spoil this for you because you need to go see this.
You'll love it. It's really good. It's really good. I'd say there is a third season.
We were looking for something to watch, so we need to watch Chucky, the series,
the TV show. I think it can be found on, where is it right now? Peacock.
All right, cool.
Would make sense. Yeah, I think there's 3 seasons, but we haven't got season 3 here yet. I know
season 3. Season 3 is on Peacock for us. You can actually watch all 3.
Yeah,
we will definitely watch that.
It's a classic, and if you go to any conventions or you go to any stores or anything, you tend to find toys, and it's always Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Chucky. Those are the staples of any.
Well, now you got Sam too. From was it Trick or Treat?
Yeah, Trick or Treat. Yeah. Sam the boy.
Yeah, he's a big character.
Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah.
I saw a purse that I wanted to get. It's him.
Yeah, it's true. And there's no sign of it stopping at all, and that's not a bad thing. So, Child's Play was a great shout. It's a great movie. I love watching it again. it's been a while, and by a while I mean maybe, I don't know, a year. It's one of those that you
Oh,
just go back to.
I was smiling watching it.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
mean,
so good.
ear
It's
to
so
ear,
good.
you know? And then my 3-year-old sitting there. And I'm like, should he?
Even with the
Like,
lift, well, the scene in the lift's the best, or the elevator, I should say.
I
And
was like,
the
oh,
two
fuck.
people are like, yeah, it's hilarious.
Let him
To this
watch
day,
it.
it's
Let's see
hilarious.
what happens. I
Yeah,
mean,
the ugly
Scarlett watched it. Yeah?
Exactly. What's the worst that can happen? You know,
when she exits and she's like, it's ugly doll.
brilliant. Absolutely. To this day, cracks me up. To this day, cracks me up. But
His
yeah,
response to that cracks me up every time.
so good, so
But
good.
the humor is so adult. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, the kids watch it, but
Yeah.
the cracks, the jokes, I thought it was a great movie younger, but rewatching it as an adult, I'm even more like, oh my god, this.
No,
doll
it's
is
held up.
disgusting.
It does
Those
hold up,
ones have held up really well.
100%. And like you say, you read the synopsis and you think this is ridiculous, but actually, it's far from it. It's
I
far
mean,
from it.
they tried to
Compare
make
similar movies.
Megan.
I
I was
haven't
gonna
seen
say
Megan.
compare
Yeah.
similar movies.
Yeah.
Like Annabelle, for example. Annabelle is a doll. That movie doesn't even remotely freak me out the way that Child's Play does.
And I've not seen Megan. I'll be honest. Not I don't have any overriding hate for it. I'm sure it is what it is, but until
Whenever
it hits
you
Netflix
have 2
or
hours,
yeah,
of your time.
but when it
to
hit,
lose.
it's one of those that I'm not prepared to pay for. So when it hits Netflix or Prime or whatever here, which it hasn't yet, then I'll watch it. But
Megan was okay. It's kind. I mean, she's more of an AI robot rather than like a Chucky doll.
yeah, which
that
harpers back to that goes back to the reboot, doesn't it? And that takes you on to the reboot. Yeah, the reboot's like a robot, you know, like an AI bot over a doll.
I didn't want to see it, but I had, like, my kids was like, I want to watch Megan. And I was like, okay, let me watch it first. Let me make sure that, you know. And I was like,
it
yes,
made a lot of money.
You can absolutely watch
it made I mean, I don't have the exact figures. Obviously, we're not talking about Megan, but it made a fortune. You know, there's already, I think Megan 2.0 is already on its way.
Yeah,
So-
no, they're going to be doing more. I mean, it was successful. It's just
Mhm.
not. I liked it. I liked it for what it was, and it's made more or less for the newer generation, and I get that.
Yes. Yeah.
No, of course. So I've not seen it, so I can't comment. But it's not something that I was like, I have to go and see that. You know, I wasn't chomping at the bit, or I'm still not chomping at the bit to go and watch it. There's certain movies by certain directors that I'm watching that as soon as I possibly can. It's not that wasn't
Not
one
that
of them.
one.
So, moving on. Have we covered anything else you want to cover about Child's Play, or are we good? I think we covered it. Everyone loves it. It's a 5 out of 5 from me.
Oh yeah, 5 out of 5.
What's
Yeah.
Scarlett's favorite scene in Chucky?
It's only
it's the one with the fireplace, right?
The fireplace, you said, didn't
Yeah.
you? My favorite.
The only version of Chucky that actually like creeped her out was the burned up Chucky, where he comes at them one more time. That's,
Totally hate it.
yeah, it scared her.
Have you seen the three? Have you seen the second one, Scarlett? With
I'm
the
not sure.
with the melting, because melting plastic Chucky's no bar of laughs either.
Remember that they remade him, like they remade all the dolls with the factory.
I think.
At the end, they melt him in liquid hot plastic, and it's
They melt him in the big hot pot.
He sticks a knife in his own. He loses his hand, and he puts a knife in, doesn't he? In this,
I'll have to. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'll have to let watch that
It's
one.
decent.
It's when Andy. It's when
It's
Andy
been
was
too
in the
long.
hospital.
Been way too long.
You don't remember?
It's,
you know what? My 6-year-old has seen all 3 of them. He's watched them too.
I think they're really good gateway movies. To be honest, they have their moments and stuff in terms of the violence and everything else, but there's a lot of comedy built in with them as well, which I know, as you say, Curse and Bride, not so much the case. But me personally, apart from the breakfast scene, which is horrendous from very different reasons, I like it when he gives. I can't remember if it's the last kill or the last but one kill, where he gives the therapist electroshock therapy.
Yes.
I'm laughing about it as I say it. Brilliant,
Honestly,
just brilliantly done. So well done.
Everything he does as the doll was brilliant. If you think about it, I mean, he took the tool hammer to kill the babysitter in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Which made they made him think it was Andy, right? Then he does the gas stove to get back at his getaway driver that left him high and dry. And then the one with the doctor as well. He only had a few kills in that movie. There wasn't that many.
It's
kills.
not a huge body count.
No.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
But
but
that's a good thing.
my favorite scene though is when she's realized he doesn't have the batteries in him, and she threatens to throw him into the fire, and that's when he finally comes alive and becomes like this truly horrific, scary doll. Like I love
scene.
that moment. I love that moment.
I think that's when I realized I was scared of Chucky. Like,
Yeah,
as a
that's
kid.
the scene. That's the scene that
Because
does it.
everything was kind of light, you know. Like, okay, I don't like the little thumping of his feet running around.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that sound. And now my kid runs around. He's 3, so it's like, I'm like,
yeah, it's.
What is he here? What's going on? You know, you're not getting me, Chucky.
No, it's that was the scene I think for a lot of people. They went, oh, because that's when you see him in, you know, in light. It's
right in Brad's performance.
He's kept very much in the shadows to that point.
Yeah, that I mean, it was like you said, it was more foreshadowing. It was very, you know, there was more of an illusion of what he was up until that point, and then when you finally get you get Charles Lee Ray again instead of Chucky. You get him, and Brad Dourif's voiceover to go along with it, the screams, the violence in his voice, also contributes to how scary Chucky can be.
Yeah. I mean, Dourif is Chucky, isn't he? There is no other.
So funny that he tries to bite the neck all the time with his tiny little mouth.
What
are you doing?
And there's the scene with when he's in the back of the police car and he's stabbing up through the chair and the guy.
I love that scene.
The great movie. It's a great movie, man. I'll have to watch it again now. It's a great movie.
In the second movie, they tried to do that scene again, except she was ready for it and got him by hitting the brakes and making him go through the glass and stuff like that of the car.
So I think the second one might be marginally, to me personally, just that little bit better, but only because you get more Chucky. Like they're a perfect bookend, the two of them together, and obviously the third one's set so much further down the line.
The one thing about the third one, I just want to say this too, is the end. Chucky's ending in the third one. Like each time he dies in the movies, it gets considerably worse and worse for him. And I love the part where he gets half of his face cut off in the third one.
I was thinking, then how does he get? That's right. Yeah, he loses a section of his head, doesn't he?
Yeah, that scythe comes down and takes half of his face with it at the amusement park.
The thing I can't get my head around in the third one, even now I can't, is how did he post himself to the military academy? Like, did he write the address on and then jump in the box? I mean, how does that happen? Like, I know it's stupid and it's, you know, it's one of those things you have to sort of let it have its moment. But I sit there and go, well, how did that happen? Like, he's posted himself there. But anyway,
he's a serial killer.
It's true.
He's smart and innovative with everything that he does.
It's a classic. It is a classic. There's no question. We've gone from a low to a real high over the course of those two movies. Moving on to something a little bit more recent that I hadn't seen. I was sure I had, but I hadn't. The 2006 video game adaptation of Silent Hill. I'm a big gamer. I played the games. I'm a big Resident Evil guy, so I'm sure I've seen this. I hadn't seen it. But really good. I was impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect. Obviously knowing the games, there's a level of expectation, but yeah, really good, decent cast. The effects were really good, and
it's one of the few movies that Sean Bean doesn't die.
Yeah, that's true. Might be the only one. It was decent. I started looking into it, and there's been multiple straight-to-video sequels, and I had to make sure I found the right one initially, and so on. But
the second one is okay. It's the first one is far superior, and I haven't seen it. If there has been any other ones, I haven't seen them.
I'm not sure. I'll be honest.
I loved the first one. I really did. You know,
It's a really good movie. I'm going to seek it out to add it to the collection for sure. I really enjoyed it. I know it's in public domain. It's on YouTube. That's where I found it. So, 2006, not an amazing time for horror, but not the doldrums by any means. Written by Roger Avery. Anyone know that name? Recognize that name? No. Roger Avery's other most famous writing credit, Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
People forget it. It was a 2-person job, Pulp Fiction, and he co-wrote Pulp Fiction. He also wrote, if what you read online is true, an extremely well-written and really good Phantasm sequel called Phantasm 1999 that never got made. It never saw the light of day. But he and Tarantino were looking to fund a Phantasm sequel, which, Pulp Fiction to Phantasm, that would have been interesting. It was directed by a guy called Christopher Gaines, whose filmography, nothing hugely. The one thing I looked at when reading through what he'd made, he made Crying Freeman. If anyone's seen that, no, it's a samurai type thing, a manga samurai thing. It was relatively successful. I remember seeing it as a younger man, as it were.
The reason why you don't know him that much is because he's French, right? So he's a French film director, producer. So,
yeah, I always look at the movies that he's made, and I out of the list of movies he's been involved in, I recognise like 2. So that was my So that's
but
why.
Some,
I mean, very busy.
Movies weren't made. You know what I mean? They just stayed in French. If you looked at Le Pacte des Loups, it made like $70 million.
Did it really? Okay.
Oh, Brotherhood of the Wolf. I love Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah, he's got a career. You look at the list, and there's a lot of work there. He's clearly a talented guy, a busy guy. He's not, it's like he made one sort of schlock movie and that was it. I just based it on what I know him from.
Yeah.
That was it. I don't think I've seen.
They have They have. I love Brotherhood of the Wolf. It was one of the first foreign films that I actually ever watched. I never used to do foreign films because we didn't have subtitles way back when. But it was one of the first ones that I ever watched, and I absolutely adored it. And if I'm not mistaken, again, I don't have a computer in front of me, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe he is responsible either as a producer or the director of the upcoming French version of The Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of my favorite stories of all time.
That could be interesting, yeah, for sure. It's been a while since we got a version of that hit the screens, isn't it?
Right.
The last one was the Jim Caviezel version. Was it Jim Caviezel?
Right. That's like 2005ish. I mean, it strays from the book a little bit, but I do enjoy that movie for what it is. It has a lot of
me too. Yeah, I think it's a decent movie. I'll be honest.
But I'm looking for the French interpretation. And the fact that this is going to be a actual French interpretation, I have a feeling this one's going to be superior to.
Yeah, you would think so. You certainly would think so. Enough time as well would have passed that it's not going to be compared.
Right.
Which ultimately it can often be to your detriment. A really strong cast. Radha Mitchell, who has had a decent career. Pitch Black, Man on Fire, to name but a few. Sean Bean, as we said, everyone knows who Sean Bean is. We've all seen him die at least once in something.
Multiple times. I mean, I can
I
can name 3 movies right now: GoldenEye, Lord of the Rings, and let's see, he dies in. Oh crap! I had to throw it in my head just a second ago. Now I don't remember. Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and more importantly, from a horror point of view, and I wouldn't recommend it, there was the Hitcher remake.
Yeah, the Hitcher remake. Yep.
Lauren Holden.
You cannot take Rutger Hauer's place. Sorry.
No, shocking. It's a shocking movie. Lauren Holden of Walking Dead fame and The Mist.
Andrea. Yep.
Andrea. Yeah. And
huge Walking Dead fan. She's seen every episode more than I have.
I have to finish the seasons. I think I have like 3 seasons.
I've got all the seasons.
I've got one more I haven't watched. The final season.
I've got the books.
I complete all of them. I slept through them, but I still watched them.
Yeah. Yeah, we still watch them.
You love The Walking Dead? We're gonna have to make a Walking Dead episode.
I was a Walking Dead fan
Everybody
before
on.
it was a TV show. I've got the books
Me
here,
too.
so I go back. I go way back. But
Yeah, they strayed from the books. So
too many
Straight up.
seasons. Too
Straight
many
up.
seasons.
From the beginning, it's like straight from the
Too many
book.
seasons.
Right, and I loved the I loved the graphic novel. So when I
Yeah,
started watching it and they started straying, I had to look at the TV show as a completely separate.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you have to. I have to do the same. But 11 seasons of anything is too much.
Yes.
You know, let's be honest. We'll do a Walking Dead series, a show maybe. That seems like it could be fun.
Well, it's because
With
it's
the
kind of
exception,
like
with the exception
the
of
same.
Family Guy and The Simpsons, I'm just gonna say that.
Well, I've just got Paramount
South
Plus,
Park.
so I get South Park. Yeah, just say I've just got Paramount Plus for a year, and it's not great, but it's got every episode of South Park on it. So I'm now reliving my teenage years. So good.
My 14-year-old started watching it, and I was like,
So good.
Oh,
So
whatever. I was watching it at 14, so I'm not going to stop you from watching
exactly.
it. Don't let your little sister watch it, though. No,
definitely
yet.
not. No,
Not
yeah.
You need to be older.
Yeah, it's out there for sure. And also it has Kim Coates in it. I love Kim Coates. I'm a huge Sons of Anarchy guy, so Kim Coates is in it.
I'm going through Sons again right now.
Are you really?
And I just watched the worst. You probably know what I'm talking about. The worst episode in the entire show.
Opie's death.
The prison Opie's death. And I every time I watch the series and that episode happens, I have to put it down for like a week, and before I can even watch anything more after that.
Ryan Hurst
breaks.
Ryan Hurst is so good.
It breaks me in my heart every single time when he says, "I got this."
Yeah, Ryan Hurst is so good as in every scene. He's so good. And then when he got he went to The Walking Dead, didn't he? And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And it was,
that's what made me. Because I had stopped watching it. I didn't want to continue. But then I heard that he was going to be playing Beta.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ryan Hurst is in it. I'm starting to watch
it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kim Coates prior to Sons was a really busy character actor. Always working, always doing something. Last Boy Scout, for example, very young in that, but he was in that. This film was made for a lot of money.
How much?
I was surprised. 50 million was the budget.
With a lot of the CG work that they ended up having to do, that doesn't surprise me because CG was still, I won't say in its infancy, but there was still a lot of technological
I think the effects
development.
I didn't have time. I didn't have time to watch it, but there's scenes with Pyramid Head in it, right?
Yeah.
Just that alone, that costume.
Yeah. I think the effects are pretty great. Yeah, I think the effects are pretty great.
The scene with the nurses. The scene with the nurses.
Oh God, no.
That's my favorite scene. I know we're going to touch on that at some point. That's my favorite scene. It did all right. It did well. It brought back 100.3 million, so it doubled its budget. You know, and that's again not including any home entertainment or re-releases or anything else. That's purely the theatrical run. So it did okay. And again, you're talking about a video game adaptation, which historically, I think at this point we would have had what Bob Hoskins' Mario Brothers, maybe at a push. I'm not entirely sure. Teenage Mutant Turtles, again at some point, maybe around then, maybe just before. It's kind of really great. I kind of loved it. I was sat there thinking, I'm sure I've seen this, and at the time I was like, I haven't seen this, and that made me get into it more, and it's kind of great. I have to admit,
the plot line, the plot line that they used for the movie was perfect. And the way that it ends, and the way
if any character gets done dirty in terms of how they get dealt with, then Lauren Holden's character really doesn't deserve that. She really deserve
no, the way that she goes, terrible. But in the end, when the mom, I forget what the actress's name is, but
Rhoda Mitchell,
yeah. So when
it's Rose, isn't it? Rose in the movie, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Rose. Yeah.
So when she allows, what happens to happen, like the chains, the chains and stuff like that, just like the barbed wire chains, to shred everybody to pieces.
dark. It's dark for its time. Like,
Oh.
you know, I know the games were dark. I remember playing Silent Hill on 1 and 2. They're dark games. They are what they are. But you kind of think that the movie would tone it down a little bit, mainly because they want to get more bums on seats. Far from it. Far from it. There you go.
They won up.
Far from it.
They won up.
Yeah.
That scene was barbaric. That scene was like a tribute to Hellraiser, is what that was.
Yeah. Well, because obviously we've had a little burst of Resident Evil remakes in the last few years, and they've made a fortune. We've got a Silent Hill 2 remake hitting the screens if you're a gamer in the next, I think, 6 months. That will make a fortune. It will. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I have to be honest. I thought it was really well shot. I didn't think it was cheesy, to be honest, overly. And I was kind of shocked I hadn't seen it. As I say, it must have just been one of those where I thought I had.
It didn't. I mean, it didn't do amazing at the box office. I know critics were really harsh on it. I do remember that. I do remember that the critics were really harsh on it, and a lot of the people didn't really want to go see it because this was back when we went to go see movies based on critics. It wasn't so much you had.
Yeah, it's true.
You didn't have Rotten Tomatoes really big back then, right? So you went on the newspaper critics, which like Siskel and Ebert, and of course they
you
or
went on the critics. Or you went on, oh well, my friends told me, or I know this actor. Yeah. But even then, like back then, how many movies did these actors make?
Sean Bean was the only one that had any real street cred at that point in time because he had been Boromir and in GoldenEye, and people knew who he was at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Roddy Mitchell was because of Pitch Black. I was a huge Pitch Black fan. I'm saying that as if it was even before. I'm pretty sure it was. And then later down the line, I love Man on Fire, and she's obviously Man on Fire. So
yeah, Pitch Black, and I even think Chronicles of Riddick came out before Silent Hill did. So I think there was two.
I think so too.
Two Riddick movies. I love those movies too. And Vin Diesel has confirmed he's got one more in him.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
How many are there? There's 3, right? Now there's a trilogy to him, isn't it?
There's a trilogy. He's confirmed that he wants to put on the Riddick reigns one more time.
After is this now that Fast and Furious is finished? I'm guessing, is it? I don't even know if it has at this point. I lost track of those movies after about number 4, I think.
I'm not mad about it.
Maybe 5. No.
I'm not mad about it. I absolutely adore Riddick, and what I'm hoping is that the final one that he does takes him back to Furia. I hope that's what happens.
Would make sense, wouldn't it? In terms of Silent Hill, for anyone who hasn't seen it, the brief synopsis or haven't played the game, you've got a couple who have an adopted daughter who suffers night terrors and sleepwalking, and it's all based around this small town in Virginia called Silent Hill. Rose, being the trooper that she is, the mum, takes the daughter to said town to try and uncover the secrets behind their daughter's issues with the place, and from there craziness ensues. I think that's probably the easiest way to say it without giving away a lot of spoilers, apart from 2 words: Pyramid Head. I think the initial introduction of Pyramid Head and the scene with the nurses are by far my 2 favorite scenes in the movie. That initial scene with Pyramid Head, only because I wasn't sure what to expect, because having not seen it. Pyramid Head could have been done so poorly.
That's pretty good.
What was your favorite scene? Do you remember?
Where the pyramid was trying to get the mom, coming down the hallway.
Oh, like when he first appears.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
share screen, Mark.
Okay.
I figured one of you guys would say this.
Yeah. Oh yes, this is one of the best scenes.
It's so well done. I really wasn't expecting it to be.
See, Resident Evil tried to do some new character like this, but
Gotta love Pyramid Head.
Brilliant. Absolutely superb. As I say, it could have been done really poorly, and it wasn't. As I said, I don't own this movie. That won't last for long. It'll get added to the catalog rather quickly. I was really impressed.
Another one of the scenes that creeped me out is the playground scene where those children thingies, whatever you call those, I have no idea what they are. They started making that eerie screeching sound like that.
Yeah.
That sends chills down my spine every single time I watch it when the TV's out.
The thing is, you touched on Resident Evil a second ago. I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and I hate that movie franchise because it's just not Resident Evil to me.
They didn't do the
but
game.
Clearly it could have been done. It clearly could have been done based on the fact that what we've seen there.
Silent Hill proves it, that they could have done. They could have kept most of the characters the same. They could have written, they could have either done the story of the game or written a story that would have worked in that universe. That would have made so much more sense than Alice.
100%. Yep. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if the remake of the second game, which hits I think at the end of the year, if that goes over as well as I'm sure it will, we may see another movie because there's clearly a market for it and a thirst for it. So
if they do it though, they're gonna have to do it with the Resident Evil 2 story. I'm telling you. Out of all of the Resident Evils, RE2 is still RE2 going into 3 Nemesis is my favorite storylines in the entire franchise. And if they follow the plot points in those games to a T, they will have a hit film.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, my favorite is probably 7, the Biohazard one. The rickety old house in the middle of nowhere one. The remake of 4 was outstanding though as well. To be fair,
when you played Resident Evil 2, did you ever do the secret beginning where you could run into the parking garage? You did a couple of things.
Yeah.
Chris would be there as a zombie.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I've taken great pleasure in going back over them in remake format because they've done unbelievable jobs with them. I really enjoyed Village. I thought Village was great. Village would make a great movie. But Silent Hill, like I say, we've got Silent Hill 2 remake coming towards the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something off the back of that.
They could probably, if they did Resident Evil again, they could probably do an anthology series, meaning that they could actually turn it into, like American Horror Story. They could do it like that, where each season is a different game.
Yeah, perfect. It's perfect for TV now. I mean, I know we've had a movie, haven't we, recently, the Raccoon City one, which was god awful.
Well, no, then they tried to do some weird thing on Netflix. Tried to do a Resident Evil.
Yeah, they cancelled. That got cancelled in no time, didn't it? It was only up. It was up for no time whatsoever. I didn't even get to it. I don't think.
Funnily enough, my wife loved it because she thought it was great, and I'm like, but it's nothing like the game, and she's like, that's the point. This is fresh. This is new.
Something different.
I was like, yes, but as a fan of the game franchise, I want to see the game on screen.
The winners have been the animated movies. The animated movies have been superb.
You want something new? Call it something new. Don't.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Prime example. I haven't seen it, but from what I can gather, the latest Exorcist movie, if it would have been called anything else, it probably would have done okay.
Yeah.
But you put a legacy character in it and call it The Exorcist, and it's destined to fail.
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it. It's another one that I'll get to eventually. When it hits Netflix,
it's hard for me to try to rewatch the classics like that. Like Chucky, I watched it because the kids wanted to watch it, and I was for me, those are classics. Don't touch them. It's like, oh, we're doing Nightmare on Elm Street again. No, you're not.
Is Robert? My first question would always be: is Robert Englund attached to it? And if there's a no, I'm not watching it.
As a fanatical fan of the series, I've loved Nightmare on Elm Street in any guide just because it's been so long. But it's so difficult to get right at this point. It really is. In maybe TV's the route to go with it. TV's the bigger medium these days. I don't know. I don't know where it would go. I mean, there's a lot of different people attached to Friday the 13th TV show at the moment, which seems to be dying on its backside before it's even hit, a single shot. It's so difficult now.
Yeah.
People tried to destroy the Rings of Power TV show on Prime because they were going to be pulling from source material that was really never finished. But that turned out okay. Like, I'll always give something a chance,
Yeah.
But a lot of the remakes are garbage. There's been very few that have actually caught my attention and been like, okay, this is not bad.
Hey, I own a copy of the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 movie, and for the longest time I watched it semi-regularly in an effort to just make myself like it or find something to like, but there's nothing there that it just isn't.
I mean, I forget what his name is. He was in Watchmen. He plays Freddy in the remake.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yes, I mean, if there was anybody else that could have played the role of Freddy, it definitely was him. Like, they picked the right person. But there's just, I mean,
that man haunted my nightmares.
Yeah,
for
Robert
years, and still does today.
I still does. Yeah, still does today.
Did you notice that? In actually going back to Child's Play real quick, did you notice that they kind of paid tribute to Nightmare on Elm Street when he sticks his hand through the door? His hand at that point, his fingers have been like burned off almost, and it looks like he's got Freddy knives.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you
mean.
No.
I
haven't put that together.
Where you're talking about?
Yeah, after he's been burned and he gets his hand through the door to try and push the door open.
Yeah.
Look at his fingers; they look like Freddy knives.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and check on that. Yeah, I don't. As much as I'd love to see it in some guys, it's so difficult now.
And I really do think that was on purpose too.
It probably was. They were all dipping into each other's movies back then. There's The Glove was in the basement in Evil Dead.
Yep.
So, our next movie, our final movie of the evening, comes to us via Scarlet. The Conjuring. Dun, dun, dun. Released in 2013. And spawning a whole franchise, a whole universe.
I guess I'm going to put myself, though, in the front line and say an unpopular opinion.
Did it freak you out, or you just didn't like it?
No, the two main characters I've always loved. I've followed their lives. I followed all their...
The Warrens, yeah? You mean
yes,
the Warrens?
The Warrens. Yeah. All the exorcism they did. So I followed them. I understand that it's not 100%, accurate with the story and everything, but it's like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like who they took to do him, Ed. I don't know. It just didn't work.
Patrick Wilson.
Me. And Amanda was looking at me like, "Are you crazy?" And I was like, "No, it's just not hitting with me. It's good. It's a good movie. It's just not hitting with me."
Yeah, it blew up. I think it's safe to say.
I know.
James Wan was already high royalty following Saw, but if there was any doubt, then this firmly put him on the map. 2013, written by Chad Hayes, who I didn't know. Directed, obviously, as I say, by James Wan. Saw, Dead Silence, which is an underrated classic, which is another doll movie, ironically. I just put that together. Great movie. Starring Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, Lily Taylor, and Ron Livingston. All of those are well-known names. Ron Livingston, just go and watch Office Space. So what you need to do is watch Office Space. Lily Taylor has been working forever and was very successful at one point. Kind of dropped off a bit these days. Don't really see a lot of her now, but she's always been working. Made for $20 million. So made for decent money. Anyone want to take a guess how much it brought back?
Oh, crazy!
Probably a couple hundred million.
$319 million.
There you go.
Worldwide, and again, that's global release theatrically. Whatever it made following that in terms of home sales and re-releases and whatever, but yeah, $320 million.
That's why I said unpopular opinion, because I know I'm not. I'm in like the 1% probably that was.
But I sit with you. I sit there, like you do with this, I kind of sit there with the Insidious movies. They're okay. The first one's okay, the second one's meh, and they just get progressively worse. They make so much money. They make even the last one, Red Door, which was god awful, made like 5 times its budget.
I think
Yeah,
I've watched too much ghost stuff. You know, all those shows there, Ghost Hunters and the ghost stories and the.
Ghost
I
Watch.
think I've oversaturated my brain with everything. So now I
Yeah.
watch the movies and I'm like,
I mean, 319 million is a global phenomenon.
I got
Yeah,
spooked a few times. So I mean, good call, Scarlett. Spooked, yeah.
The clapping game will get you 100%. For anyone who hasn't seen The Conjuring, essentially you've got a young couple moving into a farmhouse with their 5 daughters, 3 daughters.
No, 5.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, 5. Yeah,
5.
5. They find a boarded up entrance in the house, which they open, and hauntings and possessions ensue.
And
That's a very, very brief overview of it, because
where the mother killed his son is awful. Just awful.
I don't rewatch this movie as often as I maybe should, and I get this one and the second one mixed up a little bit.
I rewatch it.
We know you love it. You're part of the reason it made $320 million.
Well, I want to watch
She's
the other
probably
one.
seen it more than all of us.
100%.
I don't want to stop there. I'm gonna keep watching. There's a whole. This started a whole thing, right? So
They start going off in the tangents with some of the actual haunting creatures, like Annabelle, for example, the nun,
yes.
La Llorona.
The guy, the big tall guy.
They haven't done one on him yet, no.
Oh.
No, I think they were planning to though. I've seen La Llorona. It's kind of okay.
Yeah, it was mad.
I mean, Annabelle's had a trilogy, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one. The first one for me was garbage, but I think it was like number 2 or number 3.
2 was really good. 2 was really good. Yeah, 2 was really good. Yeah. And like you say, I haven't seen the Nun movies, I'll be honest, so I can't comment, but the 3 Conjuring movies, yeah, I mean, the second one's set over here based on a very famous haunting, which the BBC did a documentary on, which is far scarier, truth be told. And then the third one is a little bit different, and I think Last Rites, which is the 4th and final one, we're going to get this year, I believe. If it is the last or not, I guess it'll depend on who's attached to it and how much money it makes. I didn't think we'd get an Insidious 5, but we did. So it's a decent haunted house / possessor movie. There's some really unnerving scenes. I think James Wan's very good at setting up set pieces.
Yeah,
he sets up scenes really well.
I'll agree with that. And the practical, again, you know my stance on practical effects. The fact that they do a lot of practical effects in this film makes it feel more real, like when the daughter gets grabbed and thrown across the room and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that was not CG, and you could tell that was she was on a wire and they were flying her around that room.
Every time her leg, every time.
Yeah. She gets yanked, doesn't she? Yeah.
You could tell, it wasn't just the acting is incredible in the movie.
Yeah. And then of course the clapping game.
Yep.
Yeah, that has no right to be as disturbing as it is.
What was the scariest part for you? You've told me this.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
The wardrobe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where the is it a girl? I can't remember if it's a girl or a boy.
The basically the creature on top of the wardrobe when you
like crawling over
the way they've got it. The way
Bathsheba. Is it Bathsheba?
Bathsheba, yeah. The way they've got it set up, it's an illusionary thing. The way they've got it set up, you're looking at one thing, and then all of a sudden, she becomes apparent and jumps at you. It's a jump scare, but it's perfectly set up.
Yeah, it's really well done.
I was looking perfectly at the mirror to make sure if there's anything that looks through the mirror. I thought that was that kind of stuff, but it wasn't.
No, they get you. I think I think James Wan is an expert when it comes to setting up those sort of horror set pieces.
Yeah.
He catches you out more often than not. It's really well made. You can see sort of how it's made the money it's made, spawned the films it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well done. I think the clapping game stuff is very simple and very clever, but the initial exorcism, like the exorcism, the finale, is brilliant. I generally thought it was really well done. Lily Taylor is great as the possessed, and the way you don't see a huge amount of it because of the sheet, and then obviously like the blood seeps through and stuff, and it's almost an element of less is more.
Yeah.
And then you get more is more, but it sort of pleases you a little bit in that way.
Did y'all see Rory's eyes? They're like plain black, but the other ghosts were just like different like stuff. Rory's eyes were
Oh,
plain
really?
black.
I
Yeah.
didn't remember seeing that. No,
Like
I'll check it then.
when like her mom or Maureen was like, so she turned on the key and turned it around and checked around, saw Rory in the mirror. I saw like, why is Rory's eye like plain black? I was like, I have like no clue why is it black, because the other ghosts were like different colors, like their normal colors when they died. Like that's weird for Rory. His
Yeah, you've seen a lot of stuff there that I didn't pick up on. I'll be honest. I have to go back and check
Like I
that.
said, he's watched this movie
Uber fan.
So many times. The sheet gets me too when she's outside where the clothes is, and then the sheet blows away, and then it's there, and then all of a sudden you see her in the mirror in the window.
And it's so simple. It's such a simple thing, but it's done so well.
I know, but I think I know where that girl appeared. She was probably like up in the ceiling. Then when the sheet came down, then dropped down, appeared. That's basically when they like started doing the part right there. They had to let her like get up on the ceiling, and then drop down, then walk around the room and try to get near. I forgot what's her name. The mom. I forgot her name. It's like I can't remember.
No. Yeah, it's there's a lot of very good scenes. You could pick any of a handful and say that's your favorite as such. Was there anything that stood out to you, Mel, at all? I know obviously not being overly keen, but was there anything you thought actually that was pretty good? That was pretty cool. Apart from, was there anything that stood out to yourself that you thought was actually pretty cool? I know maybe not being such a huge fan of it, but did you think actually that's pretty well done?
I love how they use the mirror. How Lorraine
it's
uses
really clever.
the mirror.
It's really clever.
To be able to see everything. I love how they did give her superpowers. You know what I mean? Like she is a clairvoyant. She does feel and see stuff, and she was a great actress. I mean, you could tell the fear. You could see everything. Him.
Oh, Vera. Yeah, Vera.
Superb.
Vera is superb.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, check out the Bates Motel TV show. She plays that, which is basically Psycho. Yeah. She plays the mom in Norman Bates' mother in that show. She's really absolutely brilliant in that TV show as well.
Yeah.
But there's this only one daughter that I don't get. That's the one with like who's been in Twilight and stuff. Like the daughter.
Yeah, because they've got 5 daughters, but they don't all play huge parts, do they? Like you could easily cut that 5 down to like 2 or 3.
Yeah. I think her name's May or April, but she goes in Rory's hideout. Like it said when Rory said, "Hey, here, this is where I get scared this is where I hide when I get scared." So she was like sleepwalking around and stuff. And then when that little girl came into her big sister's room, she kept her head on the wardrobe. Like I just don't get that. I just don't know why.
They think it's because I think the idea is that she's sleepwalking, isn't it? That's what they're. That's the
Yeah,
interpretation.
but
That she sleepwalks.
I just
But
don't
she's
get
just
what's
constantly
happening in
walking.
dreams.
Well, that's the point. We don't
No.
know. That's why it's
No.
scary,
And-
is because she's doing that and she doesn't. She has no control. It's almost like she's possessed.
Yeah.
I think what freaked me out the most about the movie is the part where, and I went to do the research, and that actually happened in the real story, with the family. They couldn't get exorcism to be approved because they weren't Christians, they weren't Catholics.
Yeah.
So they had to get a permission from, like, the Vatican, like, directly. I mean, that freaked me out more than the whole movie. I mean,
that you could actually go and ask for an exorcism from the Vatican.
Well,
it's a thing.
That if you're not a Christian, they're not even like, well, we're gonna see if you get accepted. I am living hell here. Like, seriously, like,
yeah.
There's proof, and you're still telling me, well, because you're not religious.
Yeah,
because you don't come to church.
Welcome to the corruption that is organized religion.
Pretty much, right? Yeah, and then you've got obviously, like you say, the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine, who are the cornerstones of the movie, the heroes, and so on. And they've spawned, you know, they were relatively famous in the right circles anyway. You know,
they did this all their lives.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
their lives.
And that's one of the things about this story that gets me, is that it may not be 100% factual, but it's based on actual events.
Yeah.
You know, these things happened. Maybe not exactly the way the movie portrays, but they're going to be, you know, they're going to take some of the most important things from, you know, because I believe they wrote books. I think they even did like audio. That they have audio recordings of some of the things that they you know, that actually exist. So some of that stuff they incorporated into the film that was, I mean, is legit and real. Like this is not, you know, these people were not fake. Sorry, they weren't. I've done my research too, and you know, a lot of the work they did was in where I used to live in Massachusetts, and I know for a certainty that there is a lot of craziness stuff that happens in Massachusetts with the supernatural.
Well, they have the Warrens Occult Museum too. It's in Monroe, Connecticut.
Yep.
So, like that.
They did a lot of work in New England. Like they did.
Definitely on my bucket list now because.
Well,
I mean, but they have Annabelle, right? They have, and you guys know the story, you know. You guys.
Yes, so she was actually a Raggedy Ann doll, wasn't she? She's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here they have a replica. We have a store called the Odd Duck. And it's all oddities. It's all weird stuff. And we decided to go in one day, and he was like, oh, you've seen every room except the vault. And I'm like, the vault? It's like an old restaurant, so it's like a door to open to like a cooler, to a freezer.
Wow.
It's a huge door. He says, open the vault. Be respectful. I said, what? I opened the vault. It's dolls. It smells musty in there. You go in and the atmosphere changes. I turn my head and there's a replica of Annabelle in a box. The fuck out. I looked at him and I said, why would you do this to me? Like, why? Amanda was laughing. I was like, this is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. No. So imagine if I would get to see like the real Annabelle.
The actual one. Yeah.
I think I would faint.
The thing is, with this stuff, they have to make a dramatization of it because they want bums on seats. It's not going to work well, is it? You know, so the sequel, for example, which is set over here, which is based around the Enfield haunting, it's common knowledge that Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved, but they were there for like a day. Well, what are you gonna do with that? Yeah. Here's the Conjuring 2. Ed and Lorraine take a trip to London for 24 hours. Brilliant. You know, so there has to be that element to go with it. But yeah, they're very famous, and like you said, there's lots of books and so on. I do believe that the next one is the final one. That's my understanding, Last Rites, because there's always been talk of them finishing up with Amityville, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen based on what is out there at the moment around, which is very little, around the Last Rites. Now, if it does go down, that would be ideal. I think that'd be perfect, you know, because they could go down the F.E.A.R route, because they were involved in elements of that in in real life. So that would make the most sense. But maybe they've got other stories to tell first. I'm sure there's plenty. I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? You look at the Marvel universe and whatever. Now they go, well, that's been successful. Let's dig into every story they've ever created. This is a similar situation. Well, Ed and Lorraine are popular, and they've this story's gone really well. Let's dig in and get as many as we can from it because it's licensed to print money.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what they did.
Right?
Dug into all the backstories of some of the cases they did, like Annabelle, all that. So they've capitalized for sure on the Warrens' stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Have you seen the sequel, Scarlett? Have you seen the second and third one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I seen
the second one is when.
Oh yeah, I watched the third one and the second one.
The second one is where they go to the United Kingdom. And it's a similar haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with the old man.
Yeah, and the second one. I think the second one is the first time we see the nun, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Well.
Yeah. Valid.
And the third one is basically like all about where like a daughter that's like killed like a dad, the witch, the evil witch that's controlling this young guy.
Give her the show, guys.
Yeah.
I know, right? We're not needed.
Well, the third one was the third one scared me a little bit. Well, not scared me, but like made me uneasy because now their daughter was involved with what was happening because she decided to go into the forbidden room and do things that she was told not to do.
I mean, to be fair, who couldn't? How would you not?
I'm gonna watch the other ones just so I.
Have you not seen them at all, Mel? You never seen them?
No.
So the sequel,
the one. It was my first time watching The Conjuring.
Okay. So the one that's
there's an entire rabbit hole. There's an entire rabbit hole.
Yeah, there is.
The Conjuring. I mean, I like
an extended universe.
Right. I like some more than others, but each one of them is worth watching at least once.
Yeah.
Some of them do not have rewatch value, like La Llorona. I watched it once, and that's probably
I've seen it once.
The Nun I've seen a couple of times. I haven't seen the Nun 2. It's one of the ones I do need to see, the sequel to that one. But I've watched all three Annabelles, and again, for me, those were kind of like one and dones.
Have y'all noticed when the beginning of the first Conjuring, those lines, they kind of looks like the Stranger Things where they'll draw all these things and lines.
She's seen the movie so many times that
I know, right?
Yeah, she's picking out like specifics that I can't remember.
She's like really.
I'm supposed to be the expert, and you're just putting me to shame here minute for minute. I'm not coming back. Just like you guys do from now on.
Well,
we
got a new
Mel,
host.
Scarlett, and Keith have been replaced. I'm amazed I got this. Like, lasted this long, to be honest. No, I didn't notice that. I'll be honest. There's so much going on in that movie, and now I want to watch it again so I can go. Yeah,
she's gonna have to write us down the list of everything we should notice, and we'll go back and rewatch it.
I'll agree with her. The at least for the three Conjuring movies, not so much the spin-offs, but for the three. Each time I've watched those films, I have noticed something else that I didn't notice before during each run through. So there's definitely a lot of like little hidden things that you don't notice if you watch it just one time.
I think most movies are like that.
Yeah.
Some are pretty straightforward, but The Conjuring is definitely one of those ones you need to see it a few times to catch everything.
Yeah.
And then on the flip of that, you get the ones that you watch once and go, thank God that's over. I'm not watching that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of those as well.
The
second one, April Fool's Day.
Guys.
Yeah. Hey, I'm still not watching Glitter or whatever it was called. Not happening.
Yeah, no.
Well, saying that, if we do a favorite,
you made us watch April Fool's Day. You made.
How about we go for like Spice World instead? I'm sure Scarlett would love that one. It's not horror, but it's horror for Mark.
That
Mark
sounds horrifying.
Are you kidding me? I'm sure if we had her watch Glitter,
Crossroads
with Britney Spears,
I want to watch the Ralph Macchio one.
Enjoy
thoroughly. I want to watch the Ralph Macchio Crossroads instead and just say, The Ralph Macchio Crossroads is much.
Oh
better.
yeah, no, I prefer.
I'm saying like I've seen the British version, which I clearly haven't. So yeah, the sequel, the Enfield Haunting sequel. There's a BBC mockumentary called Ghostwatch, which is terrifying.
Mick says, "Leave the girls alone."
And if you can get hold of it, it's worth a watch. It's
Which one?
It's called Ghostwatch. It's a BBC mockumentary, and it's based on the same thing as the sequel.
Okay.
It's based on the same haunting, and it rocked this country to its core because we've never seen anything like it before, and people were terrified. I don't know how easy it would be to get hold of. It's not readily available that I'm aware of, but if you can even just find a trailer or anything about it,
you'd be surprised what you can find on.
Yeah. It's true.
You'd be surprised because like there's Finnish movies that I wouldn't have even imagined would have been on Prime for sale. They're there.
Yeah. It's worth a watch. Would I say spend a lot of money on it? No, not for sure. Definitely not. It's aged, obviously, but it's interesting. It's essentially the same haunting. So yeah, it's worth some time. I think that's it. We're done in terms of what we've picked out for the month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not bad, huh? Considering this was an impromptu jump on and do a show, kind of last minute type thing.
We had to make sure Keith was strong enough to come
Well, yeah,
on.
we want to see Keith. That was the whole point. We were only expecting you to come on for a little bit, so the fact you stayed for the whole show is amazing.
Keith is a giant.
It doesn't work right, the four of us now.
How about that?
I'm Fezzik. That's right.
It doesn't work right, the four of us. Can't say three anymore. It's four of us now.
Do we have a theme for next month, or are we just gonna shoot movies? I mean, there's 4 of us. I think we should.
There's definitely 4 of us at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scarlett is definitely part of one of us.
100%.
I need another girl on the team. Yay!
I don't know if we do. I don't know what we've
We'll
got lined
have
up.
to-
I'm sure we can talk off air, can't we, and sort some stuff out.
Well, I'm gonna pick a little bit at you guys because I was just scrolling the other day and I saw a movie, and I haven't seen it in a while. Train to Busan. You have seen
Oh, it's a brilliant movie.
Fantastic.
It's a brilliant movie. That would be a pleasure to discuss.
Let's make the theme like kind of alternative zombie flicks that are a little bit more cerebral. So let's Train to Busan is one. There's another one called The Girl with All the Gifts, or
I love that
Girl with
movie.
All the Gifts.
Wait,
I love that movie.
Okay.
I absolutely adore that film. It
Me
takes,
too.
And bear with me, but let's do 28 Days Later.
Okay.
Because again, that one's very different. With rage zombies versus the conventional zombies that you get from Dawn of the Dead and Walking Dead. 28 days. Huh?
Is Last of Us another?
That's a TV show.
TV show.
That's just a TV
Wait,
show.
wait.
But it is absolutely.
It is top tier. Yeah, it's top tier.
We should do for July. We should try to see if we can.
That's my birthday.
Do it like instead of a film thing, maybe critique a horror TV television show like Chuck.
I think we should do Shaun of the Dead. Scarlett just brought up Shaun of the Dead. I think we should do Shaun of the Dead. Do one from my side of the pond.
There you go.
So that would be Shaun of the Dead and 28 Days Later, both in here.
I'm calling one just because it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Not necessarily horror, but I'm sure everybody's seen it. Zombieland.
Nice.
So we'll do 5 because
That's
Zombieland
5.
is just a pleasure to just sit
Cardio.
down. I mean, yes.
Cardio.
Double tap.
Bill Murray.
Yes,
Bill
Bill
Murray.
Murray. And that one's gonna take so much time to talk about because it's such a fucking
5 out. We got 5. Well, there's 4 of us now, so 5 movies makes more sense. So.
Well, I figured it's kind of zombie funny and
there was zombie.
Emma
There was zombie
Stone and that cast is just amazing.
It's a great movie. It is a great movie. Train to Busan is a personal favourite. I got a lot of time for The Girl with All the Gifts, and I adore anything Danny Boyle makes. So 28 Days Later, you've hit right on my sweet spot. Shaun of the Dead is great, and Zombieland's great. It's going to be a good show.
I mean, zombie movies, we could probably keep the list going for like.
Oh yeah.
So many good ones.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but for some really good like alternative and not
Yes.
like so much mainstream zombie flicks.
Yeah.
Those ones are really good.
And it's all very different, you know. It's all the same. It's all zombies, but all those movies are very. It's not going to feel like we're watching the same movie constantly over and over again.
Very different stories. Very different stories on each of those.
So now we just have to tell everybody what we're watching and we'll
when.
Yep, and when.
Yep.
Where are you
this time we'll advertise, guys. We'll let you know when the episode.
Man, it's all good.
It'll be better, yes.
Yeah, Mel will be back in charge.
I'll try. I'm liking this. I'm like sitting on my hands. I'm like playing the clap game. You know.
I'm learning things. It's a whole new world for me.
There you go.
Yeah, we just need to work out when and so on and go from there. All good. What? Another show comes to an end.
Sounds like a plan.
Before we end, I'm gonna plug this one. Next Wednesday on the 15th of May, the Nixus podcast is hitting 100 episodes. Thank you.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. 7 p.m. we'll be live, and I'm not telling you who's going to be there because I'm not even sure. There's like, I think 20 people. There you go. Keith will be there.
You better invite me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can come for like a bit, and it's a work day, but it'll be fine. I'll make it work.
I'll send an invite. And
send it. I'll be there.
Big party. We'll just talk and, celebrate.
Cool. Sounds good.
Listen to some Nightfall.
Nice.
Yes.
How goes the Nightfall experience, Keith?
It goes. Album is fully out. Came out digital 22nd, and March 29th was the full release for physical. Stuff is still coming to streaming like later this month on the 24th. War Cries finally comes out, so that's a big one for a lot of my indie people because we had a lot of indie people involved in the chorus of that song. But then we're going to be releasing the rest later. I do have my dad's song that I wrote for him is currently in pre-production right now. Sergio is working on some of the musical stuff, the acoustical guitars and all that jazz. And then one of my vocalists from France, actually, Adrien Jouadou, is going to be doing the vocal on that one. He is incredible. If you have not heard my song, Remember My Name, it's on my Bandcamp. It features him and Jessica Mercy. It's an amazing break from the tradition. It's like theatrical symphonic metal, so it's kind of like a musical in a way because she plays the narrator and Adrian plays Achilles, but he's going to be the voice of my dad's song. I chose him. He's got the perfect voice. My dad would love him. And this song is got a little bit more like a folk vibe to it. It's going to have more of a like Simon and Garfunkel type of feel to it because that's what my dad loved. That was the kind of music he loved. So I tried to write a piece in a way that would be a kind of a tribute to him and what he loved for music. I've already started working on music since I'm laid up. I've already started working on music as Mel's office falls apart.
Bathsheba has struck.
Yep, there you go.
Remember, there was that floating hand, and now this is falling. Every time we do the F.E.A.R podcast, something happens in this.
Something's there watching, letting you know. But yeah, I've already started working on new Nightfall stuff. I've got an orchestral
amazing
that's in post-production for a video game called Aspect Heroes. So there's a lot going on in my universe.
There's a lot going on. That's amazing. And you're fighting fit. You're getting there. You're fighting back day at a time. It's been brilliant to see.
I'm doing all this post surgery, and I never stopped.
Impressive. No, as I say, we were sort of thinking you'd pop in. So the fact you've been here for a whole show is amazing. It wouldn't have been the same without you. It really.
I'm in my comfy chair.
The pair of you. Cool. Fantastic. Should we call it down there?
As usual, we're done. It's been a pleasure. We're done.
It's a pleasure.
For those who are watching Thank you so much for those who will be watching later.
Who will be watching?
Thank you very much. And if you get to the end, please don't forget to send us requests of movies you would like us to view and then talk about. And then you're more than welcome to join us in the chat and talk about these films.
And guys, I made it. I approve all these movies this month. So next month I won't be like, oh, what was this fucking movie, guys? Yep, we got it. I think it's Scarlett's Presence.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm on strike
keeping
one.
Them in line. You're keeping them in line, girl. Keep it up. Doing a good job.
It could be the best show so far based on that lineup.
I got all of them in my head.
Beautiful.
Right now.
So we let it hear.
There we go. Anyways, cool. Mark usually sends us a nice little little list of the movies we're watching, what order. I mean, he says that I'm the host and but I'm actually just a button pusher. He's more of the, the brain.
Don't believe a word she says. It's not true.
now
not true. Not true. No one would leave me in charge for any period of time over anything.
Not unsupervised.
No, definitely not unsupervised. My dog is keeping an eye on me at whole times here.
See, mine too. Well, not.
What kind of breed is your dog, Mark?
English Bull Terrier.
Oh wow.
Jericho.
What about you, Melanie?
A husky, shepherd, doodle, golden mix.
What kind of dogs do we have?
A Doberman and like a husky shepherd mix.
Beautiful.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's white too, so she's a white German Shepherd husky, like a husky mix.
He looks golden, but he has all the husky expressions, so it's really really weird. And he's huge.
I'll put a picture in the chat. So
like a sheepdog.
How big's huge?
I mean, right now he's 8 months and he's about 50 pounds, but he's only 8 months.
Okay.
So, come here.
Okay.
Well, that's about Alora's size. Actually, I think Alora's gotten up to about 70 pounds. She was a runt of the litter, and she's a Doberman, but she's gotten pretty big.
They're big dogs,
she's close to my weight.
Jericho is 3 next month, and he's about 125 kilos.
This is Ghost.
Yeah, he's a big one.
Oh my god. That was like a golden retriever more.
Yes.
Beautiful.
But he has
I got no chance to get mine on the screen. It's 2:00 in the morning here. He's like, go to bed.
I had to grab his head to keep him.
I saw that. He almost bit you or licked you.
Oh no, he's gonna give me a big kiss.
Brilliant. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Until next time.
Good night, guys.
We out of here.
Now you have to end the show, Mark.